Colin Zoe said, I've known him for quite a while now, right? We went to the same high school. He was my senior. He was doing amazing things, touching a lot of our lives. And so giving the opportunity to, hang with him and to learn more about what you're doing was like a blessing. I'm excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So I'm from Kumasi, Ghana, just in case to give you some context. So I went to school in Accra, but I'm a Kumasi boy. So if there's anyone from Kumasi here, what's up? And for the folks in South Africa, I don't know if I don't know if you've heard of the AI Expo Africa conference that they hold in South Africa. If you haven't, oh sorry.
Hi, not entirely, because I'm quite new into like digital and marketing
Yeah,
space. Yeah, in construction previously. So yeah.
yeah. You should work. Some of your work is so impactful. I'm like, man, maybe I should have thought of something else to do in my career. But I'm so excited to be here and excited to share the journey with all of you. This is going to be more of conversational. So if at any point you have any questions, please feel free to just stop and then ask your questions, right? So I'm going to start with a little bit of my background, share you a little presentation of what we do at my company with AI, and then we can talk about how all your companies, can leverage AI in moving to the next stage, right? Because a lot of people they hear and then they're shaking and there's so much information. So they're going to walk through all that, right? And as I mentioned again, at any point, if you're like, hey, I don't hear you, or hey, I have a question, please feel free to pause me and then ask me any questions. No questions are off limit, right? And then I'll be happy to answer. So yeah, like I said, I'm Emmanuel. I'm a Kumasi boy from Ghana, Kumasi. Yeah, if you know anywhere in Kumasi, Bokrom. If you know where Budo is, yeah, that's where I was. I was born and lived. Went to school in Ghana. I, wrote BC, and then when it's time to pick a high school, instead of staying in Kumasi, like my entire family said, I was like, I want to go to Accra because I wanted to be away from my family. Not a very smart decision. So I went to, I think I saw what Brilla on TV at that time. They were doing the Brilliant Science and Maths quiz and like Presec was on. I had no idea about Presec. Nobody in my circle knew anything about Presec. So I was like, oh, I want to go to that school. So I went to Presec because I saw a TV quiz show. And, by God's grace, we landed in Presec. Like Presec, I was fortunate to meet a lot of incredible people, like, people who are going to do amazing things in the future, including Zoe, which is Emmanuel. And they really, really emphasized a lot of positive, spiritual things and great things, right? That allowed us to dream big and to, be like, okay, there's so much that we can do in this world. So after high school, I went to Ken USC for a bit before I got the opportunity to go do like computer science and math at Berea College in Kentucky. So that is where I started like hearing the rumblings of AI, right? So this is around 2015, 2016, right? Like AI hadn't exploded then. That's when I was like, oh, okay, AI. Oh, what is AI, right? Because at the time, whenever we used to think about AI, we used to think about like robotics and like the Terminator, right? Like that's all we used to think about what AI is. But then in school, what we were taught is that AI is just math, right? So for everyone who went to high school, who's like, what am I going to do with my calculus that they're teaching me? Right, the differential equations, elective maths specifically if you went to Ghana, like the elective maths when you're like, what is this going to be used for, right? And they made it very abstract. It's AI, right? Like AI is what a lot of the elective maths you learn can be applied in the real world. So when I saw that it was just math and it wasn't scared, like, okay, I can do this, right? And at the time, not a lot of, I'm sure now it's gotten better, but not a lot of black people were in AI. So I'm hoping that after this conversation, more people be like, okay, let me take a stab at this AI thing, right? So we went through that whole process. I was like, okay, it's not that scary. So again, worked a little bit after graduating, and I was like, okay, I see a lot of problems in the world. I know that I have the potential to help solve some of these problems, right? I know that I have the technical skills and my abilities that are not being used anywhere else. What can I do with this? And that's where my company came in, which is RoboMUA or YShade.ai. So let me share my screen. Just to give you a little bit of a context on what we do. So, I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes. Ima, we can see the screen.
This is going to be very short. It's just to tell you what we do, just to give you some context, right? And the reason I want to share this is because a lot of times people hear AI, they don't think it can be applied to multiple things. They think it can only be used by certain people. And the goal here is to show you that if we can use AI in the, trivial matter like makeup, right? Whatever industry that you are working in, there's a way we can apply AI to it. So the company is called, it used to be called RoboMUA. We are now called YShade.ai. And as you can see, we built AI algorithms for all skin shades, right? So I'm a very dark skinned guy I'm an Ashanti dark skin, right? From Kumasi. So my skin tone usually doesn't reflect in a lot of AI algorithms. The same with a lot of other Ghanaians. The different kinds of skin tones don't really it's not fully reflected in a lot of algorithms by big companies like Google, Facebook, etc. Right?
Yeah, Ima.
Sorry?
Ima, we can't see the slides. All we can see is the people's names. Yeah, Google name.
Yeah, sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Wait, can you see the slide now?
Not yet. We are seeing the Google Meet.
Oh, sorry. So sorry.
That's okay.
This, wait. Oh, so sorry about that. This whole time I thought y'all can see my screen. Okay, so Chrome is not letting me share my screen. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
What about now?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
So sorry about that. Yeah, so I was presenting and I thought y'all could see it. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, again, the reason I want to share this is to ensure that, as we're having this conversation, if we can use AI for something as trivial as makeup and like the beauty industry, the more impactful thing that you guys are working on, whether it's agriculture, whether it's sanitation, whether it's empowering women or young girls to get back into the field, the educational field, there's multiple ways you can apply AI, right? So the goal of this particular section of the program is to ensure that, hey, you're using AI for something like makeup. Okay, then we can use AI for what my business is doing, right? Yeah, so like I said, what we do is if you guys know any of these big companies that have AI algorithms, a lot of skin shades like my own and others similar to us are not represented in those AI algorithms, right? And it's because of the way they create their data set, right? They don't really take people like us into consideration a lot of times. So what we are trying to do is to help fix that. So essentially, for those, this is specific for those who know what makeup is. If you don't know what makeup is, that's fine. But if you know what makeup is, you know that like for foundation, you have to have a specific foundation product for your skin tone, right? Everybody has a specific skin tone. And essentially what we are trying to do is to replicate what the makeup people have already found into all the image data sets. Yeah. So the goal is that we used a lot of like data sets, right? We make sure that everybody's images are part, every type of skin shade is part of the data sets that we create. So that whenever we build these AI algorithms, everybody can be seen by AI, right? So our tagline is we're ensuring that AI sees everybody, right? So for those of you who might know this, like a lot of self-driving cars, they really can't see darker skinned people like ourselves at night, right? So cars like Tesla that have automations that it can drive itself. If you're dark skinned, it wouldn't be able to see you. And so it's the likelihood of getting hit by those cars are really, really high, right? So what we've been doing is that we've been building a data set so that we train AI to see everybody, including ourselves, right? No matter what the time is, no matter what the weather condition is, right? So usually when it's hazy as well too, you don't want to be hit by a self-driving car in the future, right? And that's what we are trying to uh, work to do it. And yeah, almost 4 years now. 4 years. I'm building an AI company.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but the voice is low.
Yeah, Emmanuel, we are losing you.
Oh, sorry.
The voice is low. So you can,
Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
yes, it's better now. Thank you.
It's better? Okay. Yeah. Apologies again.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. So if I said, I'm sharing this here to show you that, hey, uh, again, this AI technology innovator of the year in Vegas this year. So yeah, he's also doing amazing things for that showing people. Yeah, and our other co-founder, she's Miss New Jersey 2023. Yeah. She's also Nigerian. She's Nigerian American, right? Again, just to show you guys that if you can hear me, like just to show you guys that, hey, that Ghanaians are building this AI stuff too. It's not just certain groups of people who are doing this field. We are also in the field making as much impact as everybody else. Right. Yeah. So that's it for this section. Any questions? Cloud consoles, I see your hand up. Yeah, any questions before I move on?
Okay. So Ima, please you can move on
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Awesome. So again, I'm going to do a little bit of introduction of what AI is, right? And so we're going to walk through AI, and then finally we talk about how AI, yeah, I'll give an opportunity for you to talk to me about your industry or your company, and then we can talk about how AI can be leveraged in that. Give me 1 second for that too. I have so many tabs open. Okay. Yeah, let me just walk through what AI is then. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about this, like AI. Everybody's saying AI. Uh, anybody have a clue what AI is? Like anybody if I asked you what you think AI is, what would you say? I'm hoping this will be interactive. So I don't want to call on anyone, but if anyone can volunteer, that would be great.
Good evening.
Hi, Eddie.
Yes, I'm Edward Amenu from Ghana. To answer your question, for my side, I think AI is simply artificial intelligence built into systems that can help us get quick results in real time.
Okay, that's actually great. Yeah, excellent answer. Right. So right. But if we look at it critically, right, intelligence is simply being able to process information or process large amounts of data in a particular certain amount of time in order to provide information, right? That's what the basics of intelligence is, right? So intelligence is not just about like the person who's able to, pass an exam or be first in class. It's mostly, hey, this is a lot of data. How are you able to process it and then give us information or gain information from that data at a particular amount of time, right? So simple example, when you have a kid or a small baby, right? The baby sees people walking all around, right? It's like, okay, he's able to grab all that data of seeing how humans, like, their parents and their family members are walking around. It's like, okay, I can also walk around, right? So that kid is able to, no matter who that child is, no matter what you think their IQ is, that child is able to take all the information of the visual thing that it sees, right? And then from, with some form of gushing, is able to get up and eventually start walking, right? Nobody teaches a child that, hey, how are you walking? Walk like this, walk like no. Nobody really teaches a child how to walk. The child is able to look around their surroundings and then absorb that data, process it, and leverage it to get information with its motor skills or their motor skills to start walking, right? So that's how you should think of intelligence. So whenever you hear again artificial intelligence, what we are trying to do is that we know that the human brain, okay, the way intelligence works is the human brain is able to take in data, process it to get information from it, right? So how can we replicate that to machines, right? So machines, we are thinking of, computers, phones, cars, anything that is non-human, that is man-made, right? Those machines, right? How can we take this process that we've observed in humans, of humans taking in data, processing that information, and then spewing out, getting information from it, right? How do we do that to machines? That's basically what artificial intelligence is. So we are just trying to train machines to, again, get the think or do activities like humans, right? That's like the most basic form. So in order to do this, like the example that I shared about the child learning how to walk, what we do is we show the computer or the machine so much data, right? We are like, hey, this is what an ideal scenario it's like, right? This is what this is what like a cat looks like. This is what a dog looks like. This is, if you're writing a letter, this is what the letter should look like. If you have a question about history, this is what happened in history. So all that data, mostly that we find on the internet, you feed it to these mathematical models. That's where the elective maths come in. These mathematical models, and we train the model or the computer to identify patterns in all the data that it sees, right? So think of it as in every single image that is on the internet, every single email that has been sent, every single social media post, there's a mathematical formula that we fed all that information from it, and that model is able to detect what the patterns are, right? And that is what is been able to provide that intelligence, which is artificial at this point, right? So let's say we are teaching like let's say a robot, no, a computer how to speak Chi, right? As a little kid, if you're learning how to speak Chi or any local language, right, Ewe, for example, right, you just hear it. The kid is walking around or in the certain scenarios at home, right? The kid keeps hearing those words, and then the kids start associating those words to objects, right? It's like, okay, this is what a ball is called in Ewe. Ewe. This is what a shoe is called in Ewe, right? Like, obviously you can go to school to learn these things, but for those of us who had like home, who learned how to speak our local languages from home, that is how we pick it up, right? That's the same way we do to machines, right? We just teach these machine models, okay, this is what shoe is in Ewe, like this is what, this is what a car is. That way, when we show it a car without anybody telling it what it is, it's able to be, okay, this is a car, right? So that's just a basic example. Whenever you think about artificial intelligence, instead of thinking of just, I don't know, like Terminator and robots, right? Think of it as hey, we are giving a machine data, right? Data, and then using mathematical formulas, using elective maths, we are able to process that data to gain insights and information from it, right? So yeah, that's the most basic point. Any questions at this point?
Okay, so does anyone have any questions? And for the sake of those who do not have consistent internet network connection, please, if apart from Emmanuel who is presenting, I'll humbly suggest that every one of us who has your video turned on should kindly turn it off so that we can have a seamless process. So any questions so far? Okay, Emmanuel, I think we can move on.
Okay, let me turn off my video too. Just apologies for that. That's fine. Yeah. So the other thing that, yeah, and so think of it as, hey, we give data, right? And data is not just like, MTN data. Like data is like pictures, the posts you put on social media, your exam scores, right? Yeah, so like the amount of money you have on your bank account, right? All of that is data, right? How tall you are, the color of your eye, all of that is data, right? So that is how we're able to say that no matter what industry you are in, or no matter what field you're in, or no matter what vertical you're working on, AI can help, because AI at this very basic level is feeding models or mathematical formulas, data, right, in getting information or insights from it. So let's use an example of, is anybody willing to share a little bit more about their business, and then we can talk through how like AI can be leveraged there, right?
Okay, so anyone?
Okay, one second. Okay, let me speak again. Okay, thank you for the brief and the basic intro to AI. I currently work with a consultancy firm, and we help businesses in business advisory, and our focus is on accounting, marketing, IT, and then we have general business consultation as well. So what we basically want to do is that for some of the smaller businesses that cannot hire the services of, say, an accountant or a chartered marketer or something like that, we come in to help them in their bookkeeping and basic marketing things to help their business grow. When you look at the IT aspect also, we help them build systems that can streamline their processes and help them deliver to their customers in real time.
Okay, awesome, right? And an amazing example, right? So looking out, we are using just the accounting consultancy, right? I'm going to just use that as an example, right? But we can do that same example for everything else. So Edward, you're looking at accounting, right? I'm sure there's like your customers have balance sheets, right? They have cash flows, probably. I don't know if like there's depreciation, but there's also assets and liabilities, right? There's capital, et cetera, et cetera. All that is data, right? So anywhere, again, to identify how AI is used in any industry or can be used in your market, you just think of, okay, is what I'm doing, does it have data? If it has data, AI can be used. Does that make sense? So looking at the accounting consultancy, right? There's balance sheet, there's accounts, there's assets, there's liabilities, there's cash flow, right? All that is data. And because it has data, AI can be used. How, you can ask, is, hey, AI, like I mentioned, we show it a bunch of data, and then it's able to get information and insights from that data. Other models have already seen a lot of what a good balance sheet looks like, a lot of what a good accounting sheet that has good assets and liabilities, that is all balanced out, right? And so it's able to do all those calculations because it's already seen that kind of information before. So an easy application of AI is that you just feed in the information that you have for your particular client, and the model is able to generate what's the current state of the firm is, right? Without you having to manually input everything. You just tell it, hey, we had this amount of cash flow this month. Our assets are this, our liabilities are this, our depreciation is this, right? And it's able to generate a whole flow for you, right? That's one thing. And the other thing is that because AI models have been able to see a lot more of the data, it can also predict what's the next year's balance sheet could potentially look like based on the information you provide, right? So I don't know if that makes sense or if that computes, Edward.
Yes, I understand that part. Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, right. Yeah. Again, in another conversation, we are going to dive deep more into like the AI. But for now, again, we've had a good example with Edward. Anyone else wants to come forward, just talk me through your company and what you do, and then we can talk about how AI is before we go to the final stage.
Okay, so Emmanuel, let me ask this question. Oh, is anyone coming up?
I wanted to do so, but you can go ahead first.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Who's it?
All right. I'm Seth Kovena Botason, CEO, Copy Printing and IT Training Center. What we do is we are into IT services.
Okay.
We teach individuals and the public office suite application. We also do introduction to cybersecurity. We have graphics design, PC maintenance, and troubleshooting.
Okay.
We treat it as education, practical, 99% practical we do. Anywhere, workshops, webinars, we organize them, and we make sure that each and everyone that gets to learn any of these courses at the end would have to also practice it, not just learn it and go out there and you dump your knowledge that you have gotten. You put it into practice so that the cyber theft and other stuff that are going around in the country, we can help stop that. So that's what we are into. Thank you.
Awesome, Kwabena said. Is it like a compound name, or I can just say Kwabena?
Kwabena is fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Kwabena. Yeah, so great example too. And I'm going to look at just the troubleshooting, for example, right? Again, you can use the same thought process in all the other verticals that your business does, including the teaching, right? But the troubleshooting looks like a very straightforward one. So I'm going to go with troubleshooting, right? So with troubleshooting, whether it's a machine or like a software, right? There's always going to be the features that is, misbehaving, right? Whether the hard drive is not working correctly or the system fan is not working correctly or something is wrong with the memory, right? All those are data points, right? If it's software that we are troubleshooting, right? Whether the app or the solution is crashing whether it's not opening, right? Whether it's a wrong version of the installed, it's a wrong installed version that needs to either be updated or downgraded. All that is data, right? So in terms of the troubleshooting, again, because AI models have seen all these kinds of problems before, right? Because all these problems probably exist on the internet, right? You can probably Google them, and we've trained models to look at all those problems. So if you were to ask, I don't know, like ChatGPT, hey, I'm facing this particular problem, it will be able to spew what the potential solution could be, right? So instead of you to do a lot of trial and error, right? Oh, let me take the CPU out and see if it's working or not, right? Let me take what is a GPU, or let me delete this program to see if it's because of a virus, right? AI models can help walk through all those steps without you having to do a lot of trial and error. And I think a very, very interesting thing that AI can do that I'm sure is going to be helpful for all the sessions of your trainings, right? That includes practical, which is awesome, by the way, is that I don't know, there's a company that does Brilla. They use AI to do Brilla. Let me see if I can find your name. He's a Ghanaian AI engineer who's doing amazing work, right? The company is called Kwame AI, and they use AI to answer Brilla questions, right? So as the Brilla students, the Brilliant Science and Maths quiz, for those who are not Ghanaian, it's a science quiz for senior high school in Ghana, right? As they are doing that, the AI is able to answer those questions before even the Ghanaian students are able to answer it. So that's a very great use case that you can do. So essentially, your students can have a personal teaching assistant that can help them as they are going through the process without needing, to always consistently be reaching out to you, right? So they can all have their own personal teaching assistant that they can ask them questions and help them prepare to build those projects as well. So yeah, now does that answer your question or does that help?
Sure, it did help a lot.
Yes. Let me share the Kwame AI here, just in case anyone else wants to take a look at it after. So I've put it in the chat. This is their LinkedIn and this is their website. They are doing amazing, amazing work, right? And also, side notes, I don't know if any of you know about Ghana NLP too. Ghana NLP is also doing amazing, amazing work as well too. But they are trying to preserve Ghanaian languages with AI. So all Ghanaian languages, not just three, all Ghanaian languages. I think they've started with a few and they're hoping to grow and grow more. So if you get a chance, please check out Ghana NLP. They're also based directly in Ghana and the engineers are amazing. I know them and they're awesome people. But yeah. So Zoe, I think you had a question before we move on.
Yes, so thank you so much for the insight so far. We have non-profit organizations on this platform, we have young entrepreneurs on this platform, and everyone on this call is looking forward to advancing their business operations and processes so they can get better, and especially meet the current rising pressures that is coming to us on the market. What advice will you give to us, especially in the angle of artificial intelligence? What would you say to us to start looking at as young entrepreneurs in our part of the world, in Africa?
Mm-hmm.
How can we leverage that in our various processes? Like there are some here who are into food production. There are some here who are like led IT training. There are some here who are also into non-profit organizations, social interventions and stuff. How can we leverage AI in our business
Now it's like
processes
the
to
internet
become more
back
efficient
in
and
the
effective?
the 90s, right? Like obviously not a lot of people had access to the internet like in the 90s, but look at where the internet is now. Like as a business, as even as a non-profit, whatever vertical it is, if you don't have a digital footprint or if you don't have anything on the internet, it's going to be very hard for you to survive, right? even if you're serving people who are not online, like having an online presence is very, very beneficial to any business, right? Whatever it is that you do, you still need an online presence, whether it's an email, a website, social media, right? Whatever it is, it has become essential for you to use the internet, right? That's the same way that the AI is going to be in the future. Right now, we are still at the very, very beginning stages, right? No matter how interesting some of the things you've seen are, whether it's ChatGPT or Midjourney with images, or you can see now everybody's able to generate, an AI image on Facebook, right? That is still at the very, very beginning, right? It's like the way the internet was in the 90s, right? Nobody thought that something like TikTok was going to come over and have billions of users at the time. That's how AI is. So you have to think of it not as AI is like magic, right? You have to think of it as this is a tool that I need to have in my business, right? You need to have this in your business. Otherwise, like eventually your business is probably going to be overrun or overtaken by others that have it. So it's really, really important that the way you think about AI is like, you should think of it the way you think about the internet, right? Hey, this is a tool that is going to help my business grow. Right? That's the most important thing that you need to think about. The second thing is like, don't be afraid of it. Like a lot of times, a lot of people push the fear of AI, like, hey, it's going to destroy the world. Probably heard that before. It's going to take your jobs. You've also heard that before. That's the same thing that people say with the internet, right? When the internet came, like internet is going, but it also created new jobs, right? Like whatever negative that is being told, there's also going to be a positive, right? Like humans, we have nuclear weapons. Right? Nuclear weapons are dangerous, right? Electricity that we use every day, the light you turn on and off, is extremely dangerous and can kill, right? But we figured out a way to channel it to use it for good, right? So even though it's possible to do bad, right? Because there's bad people in the world. You can't change that. And they're always going to do bad things. That doesn't mean the tool in itself, it's bad, right? So open your mind to be like, instead of being afraid that, hey, AI is going to take my job or AI is going to destroy the world. But okay, this is a tool that has been created. How can I leverage it to do better things for my company, right? And like I mentioned earlier on, uh, AI is not magic. Think of it as an application of e-maths, right? So for those who went to high school in Ghana and other places, if you did calculus, if you did differential equations, right? Like that is a lot of the basics of what's, the AI is about, right? So if you see, I don't know, ChatGPT and you ask it a question and it's able to answer, right? On the surface, it's like, oh, I was able to do this. But what I want you to understand is it's really math that is happening behind that surface, right? So don't be afraid of it. That's super important. And the other thing is that no matter what it is that you're doing, like I mentioned earlier on, if it has data, AI can help, right? So data can be, people's names, the names of your clients, right? Times for your clients, anything that, you can put down to label, right? Anything that has data, right? So again, if business and your business does have data, AI can help, right? And an amazing thing that I will really request for you to do is if you're like, hey, I'm not sure because like as always said, there's so many businesses here. We might not be able to go through each one, but just go to Google, right? Like spend a few data on like going to Google and be like, hey, how can I use AI for agriculture? Or how can I use AI in uh, NGOs or nonprofits, right? And you're going to see a myriad of information coming at you, right? That's like the best thing that I'll, I'll share with you too. And the final thing is I shared the information I shared with like Kwame.ai and the Ghana NLP people. These are people in Ghana who are doing and they're awesome. To the AI Expo Africa, touch with them. They're amazing and amazing. Even though there's conferences, they have like small groups that meet and discuss about AI. So having that community is also amazing, right? So Those are the three things that I would say.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for this. So the next question I'll ask before you give us the final things you have to tell us is what are some of the tools that you suggest that as MSMEs we start looking at, especially when it comes to the subject of AI and yes, and machine learning and the
Yeah.
things we are already talking about.
So
What are some of the tools
you're
you
currently
can
using
recommend
some
that
of the
we start looking
tools
at
to, right? Like
in a part of the world
one
here?
thing that I'll
That would
say is
help us.
if, again, you might not know it, but every time you open Facebook, there's an AI model that is being run that you might not be aware, right? So Facebook, Instagram, like they run it behind the scenes. So you might not be fully aware, but you are using it. But another one is like YouTube, right? Like the way you get your YouTube recommendations, the TikTok algorithm for your For You page, right? Those are all like, oh, you're already using AI, but you might not like have it in your head that you're using AI, right? But not writing emails on Gmail and like you can see it's auto completing. And like, oh, how did it know what I was going to say, right? All those things have like AI at the back end. But in terms of you learning how to leverage AI for your business, I really think, like I mentioned, just going to Google and being like, hey, how can I use AI for this particular job? I've tried it. It's going to give you some main examples. But YouTube, I think that YouTube is one of the greatest learning tools, right? For people who are not like very technical, want to learn, right? So if you have some time, just go on YouTube and be like, what is AI for, I don't know, agriculture? What is AI for sanitation? And just watch what other people are doing, right? I strongly recommend it. And I think the last thing that I mentioned, and I can't emphasize this enough, like having a community around you that are in the space. Again, that's why I shared the Ghana NLP and then AI, right? It's really important because you know how, like they said, like your sum total of your friends you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with the people who are doing the AI, not only would you learn about how AI can best benefit your business, it's also it will let you keep, in touch with what is happening immediately, right? So that if something good or something bad is happening, you'll be aware of it. So surrounding yourself, and it doesn't have to be like a physical like community, right? It can be on Twitter, right? There are a few people in the AI space on Twitter that you can follow if you're using Twitter. There are a few people in AI on Facebook that you can follow if you use Facebook, right? So just at least having those people in your connections, that I really highly suggest that too.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Please, do we have any other question from? Okay, I see Eddie. Your hand is up.
Thank you so much, Sir Emmanuel, and thank you, Emmanuel, for the presentation. And I would like to ask, every business here or every entrepreneur here, the focus is to how to make sales and
Yes.
make profit out of whatever they are doing. At the end of the day, some bills have to be taken care of. So my question right now is that how will SMEs use AI to generate more sales that will result in profit?
Amazing question, right? So SMEs, you're thinking SMBs like small, medium businesses?
Yes, exactly so.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so there's multiple ways that can be done. Again, MBs can I'm going to just Google something and then share that with you, and then I can talk you through how we do it, right? So again, if you Google it, like you'd be surprised at how much information you can get. But let me share this link with you before I go on with actual practical. Okay, So take a look at this. But the first thing that I would say is that a lot of AI stuff, especially for the ones that is able to generate things, it's the strategy, right? Like AI can really help you like strategize how to drive more sales to your business. So usually what used to happen was people would hire consultants, especially SMBs, like, hey, can you help us? We are this particular number of sales. We are trying to grow and get bigger. Can we get like a plan or strategy for how to do that? Because we don't know how, right? What has been able to do is because of the data that we fed a lot of these models. So right now, if you go to GPT and you ask it, how can I increase sales in my business? You're going to get an answer because of, again, the data that we've been able to feed it, right? So being able to develop that strategy, right? AI can really help you develop that strategy. You can tell it, hey, this is my business. This is the amount of sales that I have. This is the type of customer that I'm trying to get. This is how much money we currently make. This is how much money we would like to make. And we want you to come up with a strategy or a plan for that, right? So you can either try this same, what I just said, you can either type it in ChatGPT and just replace your, you can try it in ChatGPT and just replace your business, right? Just replace that with your business. Or you can try it in Gemini, Google's Gemini, right? So just ask it for a strategy and then it can help you develop that strategy. So a good thing that it helped us do for our business was it allowed us to define what a social media strategy we need to use, right? So it told us that instead of just going to do Google ads, we should try to work with social media, small social media influencers to share our app. And that was an amazing, amazing strategy, right? So again, these tools are all AI tools that are free to use. You can, that question just ask me, just ask it, right? And then it's going to give you a list of things that you can do. The other thing beyond the strategy, the other thing is it can help you automate your process, right? A lot of SMBs, they really spend a lot of money or a lot of capital in like, a lot of processes that can be automated, right? A lot of manual processes, but that's hiring people to help with that, hiring people to help with them with their social media, hiring people to help them with their marketing, hiring people to do that. These big AI things can help you cut costs by being able to do it yourself, right? So it's a bad thing because it's preventing other people from getting employed. But from a business perspective, it's allowing you to cut costs because you can leverage that tool as one person and be able to do multiple things, right? So let's say you are trying to do web design or like you are trying to do design, and instead of trying to hire somebody as a small business, you can go online and be like, okay, I want to create a design for XYZ, and it will give you examples of it, right? So those are some of the ways, but I I think that there's more ways, but those are the ones I can have right now. I hope that answers the question, Ado.
Right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. There's a hand up. Brain. Okay, let's hear from you, Osborne. Our time is almost up. Osborne. Okay. Kendall, your hand is up. Okay. You can
Hello?
unmute and speak, Kendall.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Who is speaking? Osborne. Okay, Osborne, speak.
Thank you. My question is about to Mr. Manuel. Thank you very much for the presentation. I really love it. I'm a lover of AI. So anywhere I hear AI, I'm very excited to learn new things.
Nice.
My question to you is about the AI overview. Sorry, maybe to be a little bit, maybe not part of the session, but I just want to understand in terms of the business. We are talking about business. How is it going to impact business? I just want to know. I know definitely you know about the AI overview, so I just want to know how it's going to impact businesses. Is it going to impact them negatively or positively? And how can we leverage that? Thank you.
So can you, again, just so like we are on the same page, right? When you say the AI overview, are you talking in terms of like Gen AI in that context, or
Yeah, that's what I mean. That is the Google.
Your concept
Google.
of, right, the AI overview as in Google's generative AI.
Yeah,
AI
yes.
overview.
That is going to replace the search engine.
Yes. Okay. If that's what you're saying. Okay. So again, the way Google works right now, right, is like it crawls all the internet to provide you answers that you're looking for, right? So essentially, if you type in a question, like Google itself is not answering the question, but it sees other websites that have answered the question, and it tries to get all that and present it to you and ranks it according to what is going to be most beneficial to you, right? That's what Google has traditionally been doing all this time, right? So ever since Google got launched, that's what like right now, if you're a regular Google user, that's what you want to. Right? If you go to Google and you type in something, what you're trying to do is type, okay, on the internet, where can I find this particular information that I'm looking for, right? So that's what Google used to do. But then it's going to change, so that might affect you and your businesses. But in terms of the AI overview affecting your business, I don't really think it will essentially affect your business typically, right? I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to massively affect the business. But what the AI overviews is doing is that it's creating a lot of competition among the big companies to see who is able to integrate generative AI for the masses better, right? So, Osman, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it answers it, but it's more about how it's going to impact the businesses. And like you said, for those bloggers and those website hosters and all those things, what happens to their business if they have AI that is generating the answers? And doesn't mean that Google have actually taken advantage of all those people, because they're talking about feeding data to this machine.
Yes.
So they are taking advantage of them, gather their data, and now more or less they are discarding them. Is that what it is? I don't want the conversation to go long, so maybe we could talk more about it.
You can take this offline and cover it. But that's what, well, yeah, essentially that's what's happened. So if you've ever put your data on the internet, whether you've made a social media post, whether you've liked something, whether you've commented on a post, your data has been used to train an AI model somewhere, right? And like what Oswan is saying is that instead of people actually now, like I mentioned earlier, Google used to just go around the internet and then rank what website pages are essential to you. So people Google could drive traffic to your website if you wrote actually good content. Now, that's not what's going to happen. Google will just present all that information on your website directly in the Google search, the way ChatGPT does. So people might not need or feel the need to click on your website. And so if, let's say, you need a lot of traffic to your website in order to generate income, that is going to affect your, right? Because if people are getting the direct answers without needing to click on your website or come to your website, right, that's going to affect you a little bit, right? But yeah, that's mostly for people who create content on the internet. But if you're like a business, I don't really think it would affect you as much, right? But in general, like I've been saying, that because AI is just feeding mathematical models data, if you have your data on the internet, right, you have to assume that your data has been used to train a model, an AI model somewhere, whether you are aware of it or not. If you have your pictures on the internet, somebody has used it to train a model. If you have your, I don't know, social media, if you use social media, somebody has used your data to train a model, right? Like if you've done any financial transactions on the internet, somebody has used your information to train a model, right? So that's how you should think about it in that sense.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, Kendall, let's hear from you then. We can take the final remarks. Kendall. Hello, Kendall. Your hand is up.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Kendall Elizabeth Mante. Yes, I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Kendall.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sure. So mine is a concern. I was having issues with my internet, so I don't know if you have answered it already or you have spoken about it, but then I want to seek clarification. You know that entrepreneurs are the backbone of economic growth and development in every country. Now, our quota to the economic development of this country. Yet I feel AI is here to rather take our jobs rather than to support us. I am a food technologist by profession, even though I currently work with the Ghana Enterprises Agency that gives business advices to MSMEs. One thing I have realized now is the fact that people can use ChatGPT and AI tools to generate answers that formerly they could have walked to us and paid for our services for. Now the question is rather cushion and support us. I want to have your take and your concern on that as an AI expert. Thank you.
Yeah. So great question, Kendall. And I think we touched on it a little bit about like you shouldn't fear AI about taking your jobs, right? So like I mentioned earlier, like AI today is like the internet in the 90s, right? Obviously, when the internet was created, some jobs were lost, right? But it also created new jobs. So what is happening or what is going to happen is that if you're to stay competitive in the new world that we live in, you are going the fear of AI taking mundane jobs is real. It hasn't been fully thought out, but the people who are going to win in this scenario are the people who think of AI as a tool and then leverage it for their business.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I hope you can hear me, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I can.
Yes, beautiful. I'm excited about the various discoveries that are coming up today. And some of the things we've picked up from the presentation is making us realize that AI is a tool. And over the years, I'm happy about this, the parallelism you made between the internet and AI, making us see that AI today is like internet in the 90s, right? So we've had people who have had access to the internet, yet there are people who still run to computer guys just so that they can show them where to find what. And so this is, to me, I have come to realize that it is not something to be afraid of, but it's rather something to arm ourselves. It's rather something for us to arm ourselves with. And then more importantly, I have also practically realized that not everyone is also interested in this AI.
Yeah.
So those of us who are on this call, we are part of the top 10 or top 5% of people who are interested in the AI. And so we should also get to know that that there are people around who still don't have the interest. There are people around who still don't want to learn about how to leverage AI to make their businesses better. So Yima, thank you so much for what you've shared with us. I have some few hands here. Please borrow us some few time. Kago Billy is here. Kago Billy is from Botswana, and he's here. His hand is up. He wants to ask a question or add a word or two. So Kago, let's hear from you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you for the presentation. AI is really amazing, to be quite honest. I've also started, for me, it started as a fear, but I realized that I have to embrace it anyway. So in Botswana, I run a retail store. I sell clothes and I sell shoes. So the things that you've been sharing, I mean, even from other guys who are just sharing about their businesses, the strategies of, using ChatGPT, where you can just ask it about, different marketing strategies, what are the most attractive ways that you can use to attract your customers. Those are the things that I've used and I've seen that it actually works. I mean,
Nice.
business, obviously you're trying to make money and also the expenses. So for us in business,
Please, I want to find out whether you can share your screen with us.
The less you spend for us is an advantage. So my sister was talking about, jobs being taken. It's not all jobs will be taken. Obviously, there are people who are traditional and will still want to use services for accountants, marketers, influencers, and all that. So we both use the traditional models and also incorporate them with what AI is bringing, so that at the end of the day, we are not lost. Because AI is the way it's moving, we might get lost in it. Like Emmanuel was talking about. AI is not always right. There are things that when you ask it, it just goes hayway. So as for example, when we ask about maybe different, obviously marketing strategies are very easy. So when you write it, it gives you, very nice answers. But there are times where when you write, it gives you something where you think, would my customers um, adopt this? Would my customers be familiar with this? So at the end of the day, you write whatever it gives you. You look at it and assess it to say, is this thing, would it work to my niche market? Would it work to my region? Or how would it work? So you just keep playing around it until you get that thing that says, oh, maybe this is the thing. But if it doesn't give you the answer, we can still go back to the traditional marketers or the influencers to say, guys, I need you guys to do this, this and that so that I can get this certain result. And people will go out and do it. So for me, I personally think it's a combination of both. You know, or internet was not there before. Our parents, when we were young, they were using some type of cameras, and now technology has advanced. We're using different type of cameras, different pixels. So things are just changing. And as they change, we learn to adapt, we learn to change with them, and we learn to learn new ways of using either it's AI or technology or 5G, 6G, whatever it is. At the end of the day, that's for me personally. I always take it to be um let me just throw myself in it and learn and see how my business can grow from it. So those are my 2 cents. I was just basically adding as a comment to say AI, as much as it's growing so fast, and as we're learning from Emmanuel and hopefully in other seminars or webinars that will be organized, we'll keep learning on newer ways or new developments that come in so that we can take advantage of and use them for our advantage, both for the workers and for the entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Billy. Always good to hear from you, and thank you for adding this. Marvelous, your hand is up. Let's hear from you. Then we can call it a day. Marvelous, your hand is up.
Good evening, Mr. Emmanuel.
Good
Good evening, Marvelous.
Okay, I'm a fashion designer, so I want to ask how I can help me in the fashion work.
Oh, great question. Yeah, I hear you. So this is, I'm in that same vein. So your answers are going to be more specific than other people. So fashion designer, I'm sure like you don't want AI to generate the designs for you. However, things that have really been happening in the fashion world is, taking measurements of your customers virtually, right? So instead of people coming in for you to measure them, AI can, people can just stand in front of their cameras and it can get their exact measurements with AI, like every single inseam, every single type of measurement, right? And that's one of the ways that AI is helping in the fashion industry. And again, you don't even need to pay. It's a free service you can leverage. The other thing is, again, because I'm in the fashion space, that's why I can speak specifically. I'm in the beauty and fashion space. The other thing is like virtual try-on. A lot of times when people buy things, they want to make things that fit them. So they come in for a fitting. One thing that a lot of companies have been trying to do is that they want to virtually fit people. So like whenever you make that dress, right, and your customer, instead of them coming in for the virtual sitting, again, they can stay in their home, just send you a picture, and then they can virtually try on the dress that you just made, and they can like send you feedback, right? Like, hey, we don't like this part, we don't like this thing. And this has allowed people to work with designers from all around the world, right? There's a Nigerian fashion company that does this. So most of their clients are in the US. They can do a lot of back and forth. So they send all their measurements from the US to their app to them, and then they virtually try it on before they ship it back to them. So that's like an amazing thing that AI is helping in the fashion industry. So those are the two like actual practical things that are being done today that, yeah, you can definitely look into leveraging.
Wow, thank you so much. So from what you just said, we can definitely see that in as much as AI is helping us, it is still not taking the place of the human factor where our creativity comes in. AI cannot do anything without us. Is that not it?
Yeah. And I think the most important, yeah, absolutely, right. Obviously, like it's still training. We are still waiting to see where it goes, and nobody fully knows. But like one thing that I will say, just to end it, is that I know some of us, we take ourselves for granted. It costs billions of dollars to train AI models to identify images, right? So the thing that you are learning how to do very easily, like a child learning how to walk, how easily it comes to a child, right? We have to pay billions of dollars for computing power to get something that similarly resembles that, right? The fact that you learned how to speak your local language or English as a kid and now you can still speak it, in order to train ChatGPT to do that, right, is billions of dollars, right? So the human nature is so expansive, like it's incredible, right? Your ability to walk, talk, and do all those things at the same time, like to get robots and even AI models to do that, like that's billions of dollars per action, right? So, as much as we think AI is going to
Please, can you share your screen?
Oh yeah, it is. We are done sharing the screens. The point where we are not sharing screens anymore. We're just answering questions. Nah.
Emmanuel, please continue. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would say, right? Like no matter who you are, like just having that in your mind that, hey, the thing that I do easily, as in walking, right? You don't even think about walking. You just know how to walk. Like it costs companies tens of billions of dollars just to teach robots how to do walking that is not even like stable, right? Being able to speak, it costs billions of dollars to teach AI models to be able to speak, right? The way ChatGPT is able to answer a question, the way you are able to answer a question, like that's billions of dollars worth, right? So even though there's the danger of AI replacing humans, it's just, I hope you understand how incredibly impressive the human machine is, or the human being is, right? That is where I just want you to note that. So yeah, so that's it.
Eddie? 10 seconds. Let's hear from you. 10 seconds.
Yes, sir. So I'm just curious about the fashion industry, how AI can help. And he made mention of, Imam made mention of the virtual measurement and the virtual try-on. I just want to there are many of the AI platforms, like the ChatGPT is one, and they have very different versions of that same software or AI tool. And there are other ones. He also made mention that it is virtually free for such thing to be done. Can he take us through how these things are done, that maybe some other businesses can also leverage on that to get this benefit?
Yeah, so how they are, if you can explain that